Hey listeners, I just wanted to give a heads up at the beginning of the episode. The second half of this episode, the audio quality drops pretty significantly, and I just wanted to say I'm really sorry about that. I do all the editing, and I couldn't figure out how to fix it. My audio equipment messed up while we were doing the record, so this was the best I could do in editing, and I'm really sorry, but hopefully you guys will be able to tolerate it. So thank you, and enjoy the episode the best you can.
Content warning. On this podcast, we discuss sensitive issues, including but not limited to swearing, tasteless jokes, mentions of drug use, and situations of a sexual nature. This podcast is not intended for children.
They start kissing, and that's as far as Atticus will let it go.
Oh,
yeah.
Good for you.
He tried so hard not to fuck this child.
What a gentleman.
God damn it.
Pseudo daddy of the year.
God damn it.
If I don't laugh, I will cry.
That's the only thing you can do. Welcome to Bibliowrecks, where we read the world's worst books. I'm BamBam.
I'm Birdie.
And Birdie's my friend. Welcome, friend Birdie.
Hi, I'm so nervous. That's going to be great. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be great. No, it's going to be terrible.
Oh, God.
I just remembered what I'm reading.
Oh, yeah, no. I was so nervous I forgot about that part.
You suggested this book to me a few months ago. Well, you suggested the first book to me, The Wild, for this podcast. And it's fucking terrible.
I'm so sorry. I need to repent for my sins.
So you sent me a video done by Weirdo Book Club.
Fantastic.
She reviewed it, and I'm doing the sequel today because she did the first book in the series really well, and I didn't feel like I had anything to add to it. So check out Weirdo Book Club on YouTube. She's really funny.
Oh, yeah.
But today we're going over The Free by Kay Webster. Let me ask you, how do you feel about sexual assault?
Oh, God. Okay, no, like on a real level, in these kind of books or these really heavy themes, and it feels gratuitous, people a lot of times like to compare it to Game of Thrones. And it's like, if it's necessary to drive the plot and it, causes all these chain events and it's not just there to create drama.
Or if it's like trying to send a message about something, like it's trying to say something larger.
Or very thinly veiled as a kink.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's a thing a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's not great, but in a certain context, it's acceptable, I guess.
If there's like a consensual...
Yeah, as long as everyone is a consenting adult.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
The Free, very questionable. Very questionable. So I'm going to begin with a digression, which never happens. Because usually I pick out like lighter books and stuff like that, mostly just fun. It's fun to go over.
This is not fun.
This is not fucking fun. So I'm going to digress for a bit. It's rare that I have a legitimate grievance against a piece of work. Trying to pick something apart is just the way I enjoy a lot of media. And communicating it, how it fits in my personal lexicon of artwork. Today, though, I want to make it clear that I'm not making jest or complaining in a good-spirited, fun way.
Fair.
I legit despise this book. It has the potential to do harm in more ways than one. I would have simply moved on from this and chalked it up to another unsettling experience, but I believe this work could send someone down a depressive spiral, at best. Or if they or someone they love is a survivor of sexual assault. Or worse, embolden the worst parts of humanity with incestual and pedophilic apologetics. And provide someone with the rationale to assault someone else.
Oh, yeah.
This episode will contain discussion of incestual rape, pedophilic rape, and problematic relations. Listener discretion is very much advised. So YouTuber Weirdo Buck Club has done 2 really good reviews on the first book in the series, and today we're doing the sequel. But to shortly go over The Wild, the first book in the series, do you want to quickly summarize that if you can remember?
Oh gosh, I remember bits and pieces. So essentially, fill me in or correct me where I'm wrong. It's a family. The mother has passed, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a dad and his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
who's like, what, 16?
Yeah, she's 16 at the start.
Okay, they're somehow stranded. It seemed unclear, or they've decided to live in the...
Well, yeah, he was Daddy Reed.
Okay.
He was a millionaire
Oh, okay.
and liquidated all his assets.
How did I miss that?
And he bought a plot of land from a man named Atticus Knox in Alaska
Uh-huh.
to live there with his family peacefully because they had like a death in the family and they were very strained at each other. In my personal opinion, it wasn't about the child death. It was because Reed was a fucking asshole. Like, did not take a moment to not shit on his wife.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big, heavy... Like, everything that happens in the story is to serve him in a way of, like, this inconvenienced me. This made my life harder.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I feel like that's probably going to continue.
Yeah. Well, no, not.
Okay.
Okay, so from there, the father and the daughter are lost in the wilderness. They've already made, like, advances toward each other. And so to cut the story short, they start a relationship. No, that's not the right word.
No, that's not it.
The dad starts raping his daughter, who's 16 to 17, gets her pregnant. Something about these woods just makes people real incest rapey. Yeah. Because there's a separate band of raping inbreds. This will be important. I definitely wanted to highlight this part for this.
Yeah, that is important.
They come and rape the daughter, Devon, and make her miscarry. So then Reed kills all of them, with the exception of a 13-year-old girl who's also inbred. And
it doesn't get better.
Yeah. And from there, he gets her pregnant again. They live happily ever after and breeding. It was a deeply disgusting book, very hard to go through.
I think, real quick, there's something that you said in the beginning. You were talking about apologetics, and like, you know, if people could read this for the wrong intentions, you know, it could further validate bad beliefs. And I think something from the first book they were saying was like his inner monologue was he was kind of disgusted with himself and with her because of his attraction to her.
That's a continuing theme in this.
Okay.
So yeah. See, I feel like the second book and the first book are equally bad, but in different ways. Because just the content of what's in the first book is definitely by a lot worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So content-wise, it's a whole lot worse. But the second book, it's way more on the apologetics side. Like, it makes way more excuses for what's going on. And I think that's worse, honestly.
Because at the beginning, like with the first one, do you think it's more of a shock value type thing? Or
yeah, in a way.
Okay.
Like, that kind of enhances like the theme of the forbidden taboo love that is supposed to be the theme of the book. So we begin the free with a non-specific trigger warning because Kay Webster has made it very clear that she does not want people to know what's going to happen in the story just for the sake of her book and not having like any concern for her listener, her readers. And that's not okay.
That is unhinged behavior.
Yeah, that is irresponsible and fucking gross.
It is super gross. And like you said, if someone who has been in that kind of a situation, many people have been groomed. Let's just say that.
Yep.
Like, and you know, look at statistics. Men, women, whatever. It happens all the time, unfortunately. You know, it doesn't make it go away by not talking about it. And that is a lot. That is a lot to pop on a person.
So that's how we start. Already not great. So the prologue is telling about our female protagonist, Eve, her early life, in which her mother and sister die, and her biblically oriented inbred family take her as a wife, all of them individually.
Oh, and her name is Eve.
Yep.
I hate the author.
Yep. It's bad.
You suck.
So yeah, her early life is just being raped by her. Her dad takes her as his official new wife because the sister just died. Yep. And sidebar, at the end, or at the beginning of every chapter, Kay Webster put the name of whoever's perspective we're following, and it's never capitalized. Like the beginning letter of the name, like you're supposed to do, it's never capitalized. Just weird. It's just weird. Like that. I mean, that's minor.
Like an editor had to be like, "Hey."
I mean, you gotta be like a certain kind of person to be able to edit this and not.
That's true. I feel like
to be able to point out the grammar and ignore the.
Everything else is great. I would just change this to one thing.
So chapter 1 follows Atticus, the guy who Reed bought property off of at the beginning of the first book. He's become friends with Reed and Devon, and he's admiring their growing family because she's had like 2 children at this point, I think, and has another one on the way.
With her father?
Yep, with her dad.
And he's like, wow.
Yeah, I want that. When will that happen to me?
I wish someone looked at me the way he looks at his dog. Cut that out.
I won't. Atticus does think of Devon as brainwashed but happy looking. That's a line, and boy, that says a lot, because this man found out about this 40-year-old dad incesting his daughter and would not call the police in the first book.
Oh my God.
And of course is still continuing to do that.
I hate it here.
So in the last book, Atticus has some amount of concern for the feral inbred girl, Eve, after Reed killed her entire family.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the best thing he could have done.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's the only thing that Reed is redeemable about. Nothing else.
You
but,
get a single snap.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got one thing, like broken clocks. So Eve shows up at the Reed home after being mauled by a bear, because for the last 3 years, because this takes place 3 years after the first book.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they take her in and try to triage her. Reed, like, very roughly stitches her wound back together on her chest. You already see where that's going?
I already hate it.
Almost immediately, Atticus starts getting way too close. So she's like feverish and stuff, and they put her next to the fire, and he starts cuddling her, this 40-year-old man, on this apparent 16-year-old.
Fucking yuck.
Yep. They don't consider taking her to a hospital. There's like a very distrusting thing going on in this book. Like, no one trusts the police, no one trusts CPS, and no one trusts hospitals, because those are the 3 things that will turn people in for fucking their children.
I mean, I feel like I know of a lot of people around here that are like that.
Yeah.
Which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's not a local prerogative to Alaska that this happens.
Oh, God.
Yep. Yep. So anyway, he does this for 4 days until they decide that the fever has gone on long enough that they need actual care. Pretty early on, Atticus thinks that she's 16, but already kisses her on the mouth for almost no, like, she's not even conscious for this.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. The text tries to make it seem like a caring father.
No.
Yeah, no. I mean, by this book's standards, maybe this is a caring father.
And
but
I'm a mother. I personally don't kiss my daughter on the mouth because germs are yucky. And
And children are disgusting.
They really are. They really are. I will not drink after my child. It looks like garbage pile up in the ocean in my water bottle. So I'm sorry. No, and you're a strange man.
Who doesn't know this child?
Who doesn't know this child? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, he knows her a little. Like, he's, like, brought her fruit, but she, like, refuses to talk to him.
He's like, oh, you know what'll really do the trick? They don't want you to know this one trick.
The West Virginian internet.
Oh, God.
So he takes her to his house to be treated by a plot-convenient racist caricature.
Okay.
He has a grand paternal figure that took care of him as a child that knows like non-specific medicine woman stuff, and she's a Native American woman.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's not inherently gross, but it's definitely a little gross.
Do you feel like the author was like, I don't want to do the research, I'm going to be super vague about this?
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Like, I mean, there's nothing really problematically done about it. It's just an old woman. Like, she wasn't like wearing like a stack of feathers on her head and like screaming at people. She just knows some medicine.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. It's
not
fine.
terrible.
Yeah, I'll let that go in lieu of other things.
Fair.
Yep. So she like makes a salve to put on Eve's body because the major wound is on her chest. So Atticus has to reapply salve to her chest multiple times throughout the story.
Oh,
Yep.
this is making me physically ill.
Yeah, no, imagine reading
I'm
it.
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So
hopefully no one else will ever have to.
yeah,
again.
hopefully my main hope by addressing this, and maybe people will listen to it, and if I can just stop one person from ever picking up this god-awful fucking book, I will have succeeded.
Job well done. Your sacrifice is appreciated.
So next chapter, Eve she wakes up and she recalls more family time, about her dad, and being assaulted by her brothers for a while. She mentally declares that she doesn't want to be anyone's wife for obvious reasons, because in her view, like the only thing that constitutes being someone's wife is getting fucked by someone you don't want to have sex with, more or less. It's horrific.
Yeah, I get her. I agree with you, girly.
Yeah. She won't hold on to this long.
Oh, no.
Eve has been packed up and brought into Atticus's home against her will and without being asked. Not the first time that she will have something done to her without her consent.
Oh. Okay.
Atticus attempts to be a responsible adult for about 12 seconds before unclothing and slipping into bed with her and cuddling her for warmth, I guess.
No! No, sir.
Like, I don't understand how this story, I don't understand how this story in any way is trying to make this man seem anything less than a child molester.
I sit there and I'm like, if somebody were to just be like in your home or whatever and accidentally, like if you left that on the subway, if you left this manuscript on the subway,
someone would call the police.
Yes, they would be like, 5150, you are a danger to society. Please go away. Felony. That's felon behavior. Okay. I've said my piece.
So Atticus has a sex dream about this child he's in bed with.
No.
Creepy. Not okay. So it turns out later, I'm just going to ruin this because it doesn't come up again until like the middle of the book. One of the big twists in the story is that Eve is actually 19.
It doesn't fucking matter.
No, it doesn't, because Atticus already is operating under the condition that she is 16 in his mind.
Exactly.
And continues to for the majority of the book.
Yeah. Oh, do you want to real quick put in the big twist of the first book that supposedly makes it okay?
Yeah, there were people defending this. In the first book, Reed and Devon were supposedly biological father and daughter. Devon was really worried about her child coming out deformed because of the inbreeding.
Right. As one does.
And she found out near the end of the book that she didn't have to because she was adopted. And this was supposed to be sort of a redeeming thing. Like, no, that makes it fucking worse. It makes it almost like Reed picked up this child to groom specifically so he could fuck when she was still not, couldn't even wait until she was 18.
And, like, my question is, what purpose does that serve to not tell her?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make it any better.
Well, it's consistent throughout the story that Reed will keep things from her and specifically not tell her things if it shades him in a better light.
How does him being her biological father
Makes it less hot for him, I guess.
See, that's what I'm implying. Like, what purpose does it serve?
Yeah, it's not okay.
Other than, that's a thing for him.
Right. Well, it seems like Devon doesn't give a shit about the inbreeding until Atticus brings it up, because in the first book, Atticus brings her like a lot of incest literature, like informative inbreeding effects and stuff. Like,
where does one fucking buy that?
Yeah, I don't know. And why did he have it on hand too?
That's a good question. Again, if you were to be in someone's home library and it's all incest.
Actually, a good question for later.
Okay.
But first, you know who won't spread salve on a child's chest sexually?
Who's that, BamBam?
Our ads and sponsors.
Thank God.
Bugs will tell me that we can't promise that. But
Oh,
I'm going on a limb. Don't let me down.
Hello, Biblio fans, friends, and fiends. Just taking a moment to tell you how to find our growing community. We're on Facebook and Instagram, where I try to post pretty often. And we have a subreddit that we will start using as soon as BamBam gets over his crippling fear of Reddit. And of course, our YouTube. Look us up at Bibliowrecks. We would love to hear suggestions and chat about bad books there, as well as over email, bibliowrecks@gmail.com. That's spelled BibliowRecks. Thank you for listening. Now let's get back to that bad book.
Welcome back. We're here to hurt children.
No.
So, back to the story, because we gotta get this fucker done. Atticus wakes up and is horrified to have orgasmed on a child in his sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the beginning of a theme of him being aware of how awful and problematic these things are, but then doing absolutely nothing to fix it.
Okay.
Because it happens a lot. Like, the more stuff he does, the more gross he feels, but also continues doing it. Like, I think he's just fucking lying.
He's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, oh no. Boy. So, despite being disgusted with it, he continues doing these things. Eve sees that he has an erection when he gets up and asks if he's going to mount her. Because that's how her dad referred to it as. So that's the language he uses. And it's fucking weird.
Sweet child. Okay.
Because she's only ever known 5 other men in her entire life. And all of them did. Except for Reed, actually.
Worst part, too.
Mm-hmm.
This girl needs therapy.
Mm-hmm.
She needs...
Atticus knows she needs therapy. Like, says it to himself several times in the book.
And by therapy, he means his dick.
His dick. Yeah, of course. Because, in any kind of romance, the only kind of therapy you can get is someone's penis.
It's magical. It cures all wounds.
To Atticus's credit, he says no. I don't give him much credit in this book, but... So he goes and takes a shower, and this is when he starts to realize that he's obsessed with this child. And
it's then.
Yeah, it's at that point. So he rubs one out thinking of her in the shower. Yeah, it's not... Yep. Nope. Yep.
Nope.
So he gets out, much more relaxed, Atticus has to teach her how to use like regular household shit because she's lived out in the woods her entire life. So he has to teach her how to use a toilet.
I'm sorry, no. I disagree. I cross my arms. Mm-mm. How long did she live with her family before?
Her entire life.
How
Like
old
she was born in the woods.
How old was she whenever her family was killed?
Oh, supposedly 13.
She knows how to
So
shit?
she would have been actually 16, I guess, at that point.
You're telling me. Why would they move out into the woods and then just not know? I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having trouble
Yeah, it's pretty implausible.
making it logical
Mm-hmm.
why she wouldn't know how to do regular people. Like, of course, there's going to be gaps, but not being able to use it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You do the same thing, but on the toilet.
Well, she picks it up pretty quick and like immediately starts like pissing in front of Atticus.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, and he's like, whoa! I know I just dropped a load on top of you earlier this morning, but this is too far. Ah, you motherfucker. He then teaches her how to shower.
Oh, does
by
he?
getting in the shower with her. And like he like has a moment like he's like, oh, I should put on some swim trunks. And Eve is like, why? We're both gonna be in the shower. And he's like, well, I guess she's right.
What would
like,
she know?
No,
Apparently
you have.
She doesn't know how to shower.
Like, you know, like even if she doesn't, you know, and can express with your words why this isn't okay to her.
Yes.
But he doesn't, of course.
Of course.
So teaches her how to shower. And it's very like Eve has a thing where like anytime she like experiences something new and is in any way pleasurable, she very loudly moans about it. And every time Atticus has to like keep his dick under control or else it'll jump out and fucking eat her.
Moans?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Next chapter. I think this is from Eve's perspective again. Her entire family has had no teeth at all because they're all inbred with no toothbrush or anything.
Right.
For some reason, she still has her teeth. Who knows why? So she's fascinated by Atticus's teeth, asking why he has them. So he has to teach her how to brush her teeth. And him living alone, he only has one toothbrush. So he's like, we can share this toothbrush. And I'm like,
Oh, that's so nasty. Wait, okay, question real quick.
Mhm.
Is she inexplicably hot for, is she written that way?
Atticus sexualizes her. Like the actual script of the book does not say
Okay,
a
there's
whole
no
lot about her
descriptors.
appearance other than being like thin and emaciated.
Okay.
And like the fact that she has like breasts. I mean, she's got like child breasts because they were described as like petite and small.
Okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to. Okay.
Moving on. So she's looking at Atticus's penis at this point. And she asks him, will it hurt? She like grabs his dick and asks him if it will hurt when he mounts her because it's so big and she's so small.
She's so tiny.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And the reason he's so big is because he is a 40-year-old man.
She's a malnourished woman child.
Yep.
Although being portrayed as a child.
Yeah, being like even mentally, like just the way she acts makes it seem like even though he thinks she's 16, she seems 12.
Oh, it just gets worse on so many levels.
Yeah, like just the way she acts seems like a 12-year-old. And moving on.
Okay.
He says that's not going to happen, and he corrects her because she refers to his penis as a manhood, and he refers to it as a cock. So I don't know why you need to teach this child this.
No.
So Atticus teaches her how to watch TV, and he brushes her hair. And it's great. Of course, he can't brush her hair without rubbing his dick all over her.
Oh.
Yeah, because she's like in the chair in front of him. Yeah, it's not good.
Put it away.
Yeah, I think he's clothed at this point, but I'm so tired. Eve comes to dinner shirtless for some reason. Like, it's just it's just contrived to have like a sexual moment at dinner for the story.
Right. It serves no purpose.
Yeah, other than just to make Atticus
titties
uncomfortable
out.
for a second. Atticus has to put more salve on her wound. Like, this doesn't make any sense because she's already thinking to herself, like, she wants to do stuff with him despite being a victim. Like, that doesn't make any sense for her character in particular because she's been a victim her entire life. I'm pretty sure she would never want to touch another man again.
Well, I would say on the flip side of that, I don't want to give the author this much credit, but if you have been taught your entire life that is how you show love and that's how you like function, I could see how you would lean into that just naturally, but I don't know. It's so like,
that actually makes more sense because she very quickly wants to have sex with him. Very quickly.
What doesn't make sense is how he's like, well,
Yeah, he's the adult. He's supposed to be the one that's got a problem with it. She's ostensibly a child, so...
And for me, it's more... for some reason, it's so reprehensible that this child has been through all of these things, and you're just trying to reason your way into why it's...
Yeah,
but I'm different.
So yeah, the story goes back and forth in between her just being like a feral girl, but also like a biblically chaste rape victim. And it's weird. So Atticus tells her to put a shirt on and then feeds her spaghetti. Of course, she's trying a new thing, so she has to moan, and this affects Atticus in a way. So they argue about literally nothing, whether she should learn how to eat food a certain way, because feral girl, she's just going to grab it with her hands and eat it. And he's like, you should use a fork. And she's like, eh. Because she's fucking 12 in her mind.
That's... And the whole, like, feral, I'm teaching you, like, father type dynamic, yuck. Yuck.
So him mentioning that she needs to learn things flashes her back to her father teaching her how to be a wife. And, she needs therapy. She needs years and years and lifetimes of therapy. So Eve, like, flees, like, runs away because she's, like, freaking out.
Like, triggered back.
Yeah. So Atticus catches her and brings her back to her hospital prison because she's not allowed to leave.
Right. Effectively,
Which,
yes.
yeah, when you're taking care of a child, you should do what's in the best interest of the child. Like not letting them freeze to death, not sticking your dick in them.
That's a good point.
Eve's character throughout so far has acted like a 7-year-old, like pouting, overreacting, acting petulant, which makes Atticus's dick do flips, apparently. Eve asks if Atticus fucks his sister when he mentions that he has a sister. And he's like, no, that's disgusting. And of course, from her perspective, that's the only people who have sex are siblings.
And, like, way to be sensitive to the fact that her family raped her whole life and be like, yeah. No, I'm different because I just fuck random children.
So Atticus explains to her that incest is bad and she's too young for sex stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh? Really?
Like, this especially bothers me because Atticus knows this shit's not okay, but...
He's so fucking punchable.
Yeah, no, he's so... Like, he's never able to articulate why what he's doing is wrong. He just recognizes it as wrong. It keeps getting laid at the feet of society, like, as an arbitrary rule. Like the age of consent thing. Like, the only reason that's brought up as to why the age of consent in these books is because of society. Like, it's portrayed as like an arbitrary rule, and it's supposed to sort of make the reader think, oh yeah, why is that the rule, without thinking about it much further.
That is so fucking harmful.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. So Atticus puts more paste on Eve again, which drives him nuts. So he decides to leave so he can fuck someone else while thinking of this child. Because he's got like fuck buddies and had like a woman that he would off and on again have sex with in town who is age appropriate.
Why not just fuck her the whole time?
Yeah, that would be the thing. But yeah, he goes and tries, and she's getting married and pregnant, so she doesn't want to have sex with him.
Tale as old as time.
Yeah.
This child doesn't want to fuck me. I'm gonna go. And then gets rejected.
Yeah. So after that, he goes and visits his parents for a little while and talks to his sister. And his sister is like, she's like a problematic 30-year-old. Like, she's a 30-year-old that never grew out of her late teens.
I know those.
Yeah. Me too.
Is it me?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, his sister has always had like problematic boyfriends, stuff like that. And her and Atticus have always gotten along really well. So he tells her basically everything down to the supposed age of his victim.
Okay.
And his sister, Judith, seems pretty indifferent and wants details for when he inevitably fucks this child.
Judith!
Yeah, like she is surprisingly okay with this.
Are you? I don't believe they haven't done stuff.
I don't believe it.
I think he's being coy.
So he goes home. I think I did something wrong in my notes, but at some point, I think it's after this, Atticus comes home and sleep humps Eve and then sleep fingers her.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No.
Why?
Yep. Nope.
It's just it all serves to be like, well, we didn't know.
Yeah. And this does something for Eve because no one's ever actually done like any stuff for her sexually.
It's always been to serve themselves.
Yeah. So she discovers she has a clitoris because, you know, she's just a girl out in the woods. She would have never touched herself. So Atticus like runs away. He's like, I'm a child. Like he says to himself that he's a child predator. I'm like, yeah, dude.
I'm just imagining like the Naruto run like through the woods from himself.
So Eve goes and takes a shower and okay, I think the fingering and stuff happens before he runs away to fuck some other lady.
Okay.
I think that's where I mixed it up. So Eve gets up and she watches TV and she like hates the TV because it's just noise and she doesn't know how to work it.
Relatable.
Yeah. I get it. So she like raids the fridge because Atticus didn't like leave her any food out or anything.
What a dickhead.
Yeah. So because he was so close to fucking this child, he just had to leave and continue not being responsible. So she like eats a bunch of like weird food. She like discovers peanut butter. She tries to drink the mustard.
This is fun. I like
this.
It's
kind of cute and funny.
Yeah. It could have been this the whole time.
And she can't like guess any of the labels because she can't read.
Oh no.
So she doesn't know what she's trying.
That's fun.
Yeah. So she goes and takes a shower and masturbates because she knows how to do that now. Atticus unlocked that for her.
Good for you, girl.
Yeah, appreciate it, bud. So then she goes out and goes hunting with a kitchen knife.
Interesting choice.
Mm-hmm. And she kills a rabbit and makes friends with a blind dog that she names Blind Bear because he's a big chow chow.
That's fucking adorable.
Mm-hmm.
This is so fun.
Yeah, it's great to follow a child when they're not getting fucking
groomed.
CSA'd, yeah.
Yeah.
So Atticus comes back. He's guilty for leaving Eve with no food. Again, he won't ever do anything to rectify this in the future. So Atticus's sister donated clothes, tampons, pads, and a vibrator for Eve. Judith is a fucking problem.
Judith is a menace.
Oh, boy. But you know who isn't a problem?
Who's that?
Our ads and sponsors, which are probably still just our socials and stuff.
Not after this episode.
No one will ever sponsor us thanks to me. Ads. And while we were in Charlotte, off at the World Market and got some candy. Would you like to try a piece of candy?
Why aren't you showing me what it is?
Don't worry about it.
Is it Hortoons?
No.
Oh! Christ! What is that?
It is double salt, classic salt licorice.
Classic where?
In Holland. It is horrific. I made myself eat 2 yesterday, and it was terrible both times.
Can you imagine? Like, making the worst thing that's ever been tasted and people buying it. And that's your whole living.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Somebody supports a family.
And we're back.
Yay.
I guess. This is another gross thought that Atticus has. One thing I will admit to myself, he thinks, is I enjoy watching her try new things. Like a parent to a child.
Yup.
Yeah,
Yuck.
no. Like, that's my major issue. Like, he goes back and forth in between, like, being her pseudo father parental figure and caretaker, and also wanting to fuck her so badly his nuts are frothing.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Imagery there.
Yeah. Ugh.
But that's just grooming.
Mhm.
I'm so
It
tired
absolutely
of
is.
these books putting
Like pushing the line, like they're trying to like push the lines to make you uncomfortable a little bit, which I can understand that from an author's perspective, but
and in some circumstances it serves a good purpose.
Mhm.
Not in this one.
Yeah, like it's evoking an emotion, but the emotion that it's trying to evoke is fucking nasty.
Because what's the message?
Yeah, that's the main thing.
what's-
Like, best case scenario, the author doesn't care about a message.
It's just getting the story
Yeah,
out.
it's just writing something that affects people and totally regardless of what the greater effect is. That's best case scenario, which I also don't understand because whenever Atticus is aware, like the author seems to think as long as you're aware of how awful you're being, that somehow makes it better.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It makes it worse.
Mhm.
So much worse.
Yeah. Atticus tries to teach Eve how tampons work, but they both decide that pads are better.
Why is he teaching her?
Yeah, that was my question the entire time. Like, number one, you have a female friend. Like, just because she doesn't want to have sex with you, you could ask her for help about this.
Seriously.
Or your mom or your sister. And those things would be perfectly okay if you weren't also trying to fuck this child.
That's where, no, I need to be in control.
Like that,
I need
yeah,
to be the
that's the exact.
I need to teach you about
Mhm.
your vagina and
Yeah.
your anatomy.
Yeah, you
Because
really.
I know all.
You fucking hit it there. That's the main thing. Oh yeah. So Eve strips in front of Atticus to change clothes because she keeps doing that. Atticus makes a show of being embarrassed. She wants him to brush her hair and listen to Led Zeppelin. And I messaged you when I kept getting to these parts, and I was like, why do they keep playing Led Zeppelin? Why does this fucking book want to ruin Led Zeppelin for me?
If I were Led Zeppelin, I would sue for damages.
Yeah, I would. So Eve is like really trying to tempt Atticus. Like in this book, Atticus isn't really the aggressor like Reed was.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit more held back, I guess. But Eve is more the aggressor in this book.
And any sane person,
Mhm.
like say you were, a foster family or, in some crazy situation like this, the right thing to do would be to say, this is not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I need to put this child in a situation away from me where they can work through whatever this is.
Mhm.
Maybe not be around any male parental figures.
Yep.
So there's no there's no excuse. There's no reasoning it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. For some reason, the paper flipping like really picks up on the mice.
You know what's so funny?
Hmm.
I found Office Snacks is closing, and they have on sale for $1.40 a finger moistener. It's like a 3-pack of finger moisteners.
Ew.
And I brought it to my husband, and I was like,
hate
isn't this hilarious? And I almost bought it, and now I wish I did, because just to lip that out.
I hate that. I hate that so much.
You'd rather just the paper crinkle. Okay.
So Eve has more dreams of dad rape. I don't want to go into it. We'll never go into the sexual scenes in this book.
Okay. Good.
Other than to inform when it happens.
Okay, can I ask a question about it? Is it played in a way that she is aroused by it, or is it like a terrifying nightmare?
Oh, by like her dad and her brothers?
Like in the dream, is it?
Yeah, it's played as like nightmarish.
Okay. Okay. Okay, good.
Yeah, she wasn't like a willing participant with her immediate family.
That's a concerning
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So in the grips of this PTSD episode, she comes on to Atticus for comfort because victim complex. They start kissing, and that's as far as Atticus will let it go.
Oh,
yeah.
Good for you.
He tried so hard not to fuck this child.
What a gentleman.
God damn it.
Pseudo daddy of the year.
God damn it.
If I don't laugh, I will cry.
That's the only thing you can do. Anytime Eve's body is revealed to Atticus, his genitals start throbbing. Go to a doctor, for one.
Oh, that is a hardcore ick.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's got a big dick, too. So he fixes her oatmeal, and she loves oatmeal. She loves everything that he gives to her that is sweet and sugary.
No
because that's how children like to eat their fucking food.
No shit. Wow.
So they're fondling one another when the native Alaskan doctor, her name is Suma, she returns to check up on the injured child.
Oh, is he concerned?
Yeah, he's super worried.
Oh, no. Yes.
So Suma isn't an idiot and immediately knows that some shit's up, like sees the hickeys on her body and stuff.
Oh.
She like tells Atticus, she's like, you're gonna go to jail.
Slow clap. Okay.
I wish I could clap more, but to my disappointment, she does not call the police.
This is so painful.
Mm-hmm. So Atticus goes out to do shopping or something after that incident. Eve begins lamenting that all they've done is kissed in the night when he can't see the child that he's fondling, because she wants to do more.
Uh-huh.
So she begins masturbating with Judith's toy.
Gross!
Mm-hmm. Real gross. And it dies as Atticus walks in.
I'm out.
And it plays this for like comedy. Like this is supposed to be kind of a funny beat. But guess what? It's pretty fucking ruined by what Atticus does.
What does he do?
So very childishly and petulantly, she demands more batteries because yeah, but she's like, right now, like a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I'll get some the next time I'm in town, and everything gets heated. Atticus commits a mouth crime on her.
How did I know?
Mm-hmm.
How did we all know?
Yeah, I feel like that's enough. So he does that to her and runs away and furiously masturbates in the bathroom.
There's no salvation.
This makes Eve feel bad because she thinks he doesn't want her.
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah, just fucking therapy, man. She decides to go hunt. Of course, Atticus can't let her do anything outside of his house, outside of his sphere of influence, and he forces her to come back inside.
Because he's already almost gotten in trouble once.
Mm-hmm. And Atticus asks her age at this point, which a little late, bud. Because it did not. He's just assumed that she was 16 and never once asked. So at this point, she's like sort of trying to play the game. She doesn't know what answer he wants.
Okay.
So she's like, I'm old enough to marry and have children. And he's like, no, what is your actual age? So in like her backwards 1800s ass logic, she's like 16.
And that says a lot, like, oh, he's gonna love this.
Yeah. And he's like, no, I don't like it.
Shut up, Atticus.
Atticus continually berates himself in a pattern that seems more masturbatory than honest. Like, he just has this pattern of just being like doing a gross thing, recognizing that it's gross and berating himself, doing nothing to change it, start process over.
Do you think he gets something from that?
Yeah, I feel like that's like, it probably feels like a little bit of a rationalization. Like, at least I know I'm being disgusting and I won't cross this line, followed by him crossing that line. So he wants to try to take her to town to let her try to be a child for an evening. And this is, to me, this struck me kind of similar to how the Amish do with their children. If you know anything about that, like they have their Rumspringa thing. Like once they get to like, I can't remember what the age is, but like mid to late teens, they let their children go out into the wider world, like, and experience what the wider world's like. And this is to like, you know, let them see what the outer world's like. And this is supposed to kind of scare the shit out of them because they don't have any infrastructure. They don't have like any connections outside of their community. So it's laughable to think that this is like in any way allowing them to have like a chance at not being in the life they were raised in.
Right.
So that's kind of how this feels to me.
Okay, like like validating.
Yeah,
like,
he's
I'm
like
safe with me.
And he's like trying to he's trying to let her feel like a teenager for a bit so he doesn't feel gross about it. So he takes her to town. They go to a little restaurant called Muskie's, just like a diner kind of thing.
That's a gross fucking name at a place to eat.
Well, I mean, it's
Muskie's.
It's in Alaska. I don't know if that's like a cultural thing.
Maybe.
I think it's named after the fish.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
They play Led Zeppelin in the truck on the way. I hate Led Zeppelin now. It's
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
What a terrible casualty.
So in his head on the way, he thinks to himself, as much as I'd love to taste that forbidden fruit, I don't feel like going to prison over it.
That's your fucking qualm?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's never about this is wrong.
Right.
This is about the societal implications of what will happen to him if he fucks a child.
Oh my god. This isn't getting a fucking tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, no. It's not about you and what it's going to make you look like and how people perceive you. This is about hurting a child and affecting their psyche.
I'm so tired.
I'm so... It needs to be done. It needs to be done because these kinds of books, they're not new per se, but I feel like they've been popping up more and more recently.
Well, I mean, artists are always trying to push the edge.
Absolutely.
This artist is just pushing the edge in a fucking way that's disgusting.
Yeah.
And immoral, not to say the least. So they go in this restaurant. He's still calling her babe because he started that and he just doesn't stop. Like at one moment he like stops himself and he's like, babe or Eve. And that's the close he ever gets to stopping calling her that. So she like starts wanting food and stuff. And she's like being like kind of bossy and a child. And he likes that she's bossy. Or like she's the more aggressive one of the two of them, I guess.
Okay.
And this is where shit gets really weird.
Yeah, that's confusing, like tone shift to me.
So there is a funny moment in the book, and I want to read it because this came like close to the middle, so it was the one thing that kept me going for a little bit.
It was like a little line of hope.
So the waiter comes to their table. Hiya there, a waiter says as he struts over to our table. He doesn't look any older than my nephew Evan, and this is from Atticus' perspective. So the waiter's like 17 or 18.
Okay.
Hey, I grunt out. What can I get you and your beautiful daughter to drink? I freeze at his words and snap my head up to look at him. The kid is staring goofily at Eve, lovesick kind of goofy. Possessiveness coils around my heart and sinks its teeth in. She's not my daughter, I say in a low, threatening tone. The kid, completely clueless, shrugs. Cool, we have Pepsi products. And that's the funniest fucking thing I've ever read in my life.
Because in his head, he's like...
He's like, yeah, man, I don't actually care.
Yeah, Atticus is like...
Just give me your order.
Don't fucking look at her in his head. And the guy's like, all right.
Yeah, like, you're being weird, dude.
And that was a weird way to put that, but okay.
So that was, like, if the book would end right there, I would forgive it all its awful stuff, because clearly this was all just an intricate build-up to this one joke.
It's like the literature equivalent of getting rickrolled.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
Atticus is trying piss poorly to establish like a platonic boundary between him and Eve, but it can't happen because Eve tries a cheese stick and moans about it because she's never had a cheese stick before. So this obviously makes his dick do like jumping jacks.
Oh no, here I go doing felonies again. I want to kick him right in the Atticusy.
I hate that. I hate and love it. Oh boy. So the waiter tries to talk in a friendly way to Eve. But she just keeps saying, look away. Like, she doesn't talk. For the listeners, Birdie just did a spit take without taking a drink.
That's just the most unnerving thing. Look away.
Like, she's being crazy about this. Like, she's... Like, he's just, like, trying to, like, be friendly and talk to her, and she's just like, look away, like, multiple times. Like, she doesn't want him to look at her because she knows it makes Atticus uncomfortable.
That guy definitely got on Reddit that night. Like, I just had the weirdest fucking experience today.
I got so caught up, like, trying to do notes, I stopped, like, writing down the actual quotes and was just like, just go to page 121. You'll find it.
I see bullet points. A lot of bullet points.
Let's see. Near the bottom. Eve, like, starts talking about her relationship with her boyfriend anonymously because, you know, the waiter is, like, trying to ask her out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's pulling that.
Mm-hmm. And he like asks her how old, like what's her number, like trying to get her phone number. And she's like 17 because 16 wasn't the right answer earlier.
Okay.
And the kid, like this kid is my favorite part of the book because he's just like, that's cool, but I wanted your phone number. Like, this kid is the best part of this book, and he's only in this scene. He never comes back.
He's just living his normal-ass life.
Yeah, and no idea that there's a predator.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So Eve is revealing too much about their relationship, so Atticus has to whisk her away back to the cabin.
So you know.
Yeah, he knows this isn't okay.
What's so funny, though, is, like, he's like, Dad, she's not my daughter.
Yeah.
And the waiter is still like, obviously, you're not together. Like, still trying
to... Eve is mad at Atticus at this point because he won't have sex with her. So she's getting ready to leave and go back to the wild. And because... she keeps thinking like not struggling to survive every day is making her weaker.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, like every now and then you get like a little glimpse of like this survivalist kind of perspective, which is neat. I love that.
Yeah, there's so many cool things that could have been done here.
Yeah, if you weren't so busy trying to fuck a child. I'm going to stop saying that because I've said fucking a child too many times on this episode.
It's the whole book.
Yeah. Well, I want to emphasize the fact that, because the book keeps like trying to talk about her as if she's an adult, and I cannot emphasize fucking enough that this is a child.
Like her narrative, does it ever, like, what perspective is it written in? Does it ever switch?
Yeah, it bounces back and forth between her and Atticus.
So when it's her, when you're reading it, it's like you're reading it written from a child.
Mm-hmm. Well, a little bit, like it.
A mix.
There are some like mature aspects to her, but whenever she's acting in the world, she acts like a child. Like in her head, like maybe she's a little bit more mature, but anytime she like tries to do anything, it comes out somewhat childish.
Okay, like the naivety.
Yeah.
Communication.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
So she's gotten into the show Friends. Yeah, it's adorable.
That's so cute.
But she keeps comparing herself and Atticus to Monica and Chandler, I think.
No.
I think it's Monica and, I don't know, two of the people. I know one and two of them are siblings, and I don't think they were trying to make that comparison.
Yeah.
But they're arguing as to why he won't have sex with her. Tears flood my eyes. Why? You don't want me for a wife? His gaze drops, as does his hand. Can't you just stay as a friend, he says. Like Monica, I challenge. He snaps his head up. He knows what friend I'm talking about. That's just a show. They're friends. It's different. Why? Because they're both consenting adults. You're throwing out these stupid rules that mean nothing to me, I cry out, tears leaking down my cheek. You look at me like Chandler looks at Monica. And that right there is my major issue with this book, because it's like the story is trying to convince me that the age of consent is an arbitrary rule. Because it doesn't mean anything to her, because she doesn't know about these things, because she needs to be taught these things by someone who does. That's what I mean, like she is more childlike than a 19-year-old.
You can't even conceptualize that at that age. I've known a lot of, like, my childhood best friend dated when we were 15, 16 guys who were
in their mid-20s.
Yeah, and now, referring back to those relationships, it's like, holy shit, it's so weird. Why were they trying to date me? But in the time, it was like, oh, I'm so mature, and that's how it is. You don't understand at that time, and you think, oh, well, there's something special about me. I'm so mature. And it's like, no one their own age wants to fuck them.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. And those nuances you just can't even grasp, because you want to feel like I'm a mature adult. And
yep.
So even if you can't get it through their head, even if they, can't conceptualize it, still don't fuck them.
Yep. And just because you can't articulate why this isn't okay to this child does not make it okay to have sex with them.
Exactly.
Like, just because the child is like dunking on you and you're an idiot doesn't make it okay. Still don't fuck them.
Still don't fuck them.
So Story can go fuck itself, as well as Kay Webster, for even pissing in the direction of this argument. So Eve hurts her wrist, so Atticus tells her she can't leave, because of course. They kiss again, and Atticus calls her a temptation. So Eve freaks out, because that's what her dad used to call her.
Oh. And that, again, it's you. How dare this child tempt me?
Yeah, like it's very victim blamey.
Yes. It's you. You're the problem, not me, the adult.
Atticus offers to teach Eve how to make pancakes. So, of course, this is when they first have sex.
No, with the, anthropomorphization or whatever you want to say of his dick, I just imagine him flipping him.
So, next day, I read this line and I had to put down my tablet and go away for a while, because this fucking ruined my entire day when I read this. So the next day, after they do the do, he thinks, we've done the crime, and now I just have to figure out how to keep from doing the time. Oh, yeah. Mm.
Oh.
So I had to stop, and I had to go do something. I had to run 6 miles to get away from this.
Is there any getting away?
Nope, there isn't. Hopefully, just getting it out will get it away
Okay.
from me.
We'll try.
So they go to the grocery store. Eve threatens to blind a woman for looking at Atticus because, she's feral and a child, and she doesn't know how things work. She doesn't know that you shouldn't.
She is straight up terrorizing this town.
Yeah, she is.
Look away.
She's funny. That's when they meet Atticus's older brother, the town sheriff. So the cop brother is very suspicious and asks a lot of age-related questions. So they run away, not like mid-conversation. Atticus makes a bunch of excuses, and they're like, well, we gotta go, and they buy the groceries and they leave.
Okay, that's not weird and suspicious at all.
They follow each other in the truck out in the parking lot, and Atticus decides that things are just too hot right now to be in town, so it's a good time to go camping. Yeah, isn't that fucking in any other context, this would be a child predator keeping a child from people who could possibly help?
Yes! It's horrifying. She's so close so many times.
And that's when he's at his most panicked. And that it just, I feel icky every time I think about it. It changes chapters. At some point, I can't remember when exactly, someone threw a rock through Atticus's window and stole some food. And just nothing really happened with that. And I can't remember when exactly it happened, and I didn't want to go back and reread it.
That's fair. That's fair.
So Atticus's mom comes over to his house and strong arms them into coming to dinner.
Is she, wary at all about...
No, she doesn't really. She thinks that Eve is Atticus's friend's daughter. So she thinks that Eve is Reed's daughter.
Okay. I wouldn't want to be in that family group chat.
Oh, we're going to get into some family group chats, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the page that sends me over the fucking edge. I think this is from Eve's perspective. Let me check.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Eve's perspective. What's wrong? I blink away my tears and stare out the window. I don't answer him because I don't think I can speak without crying. Baby, he says, reaching across the cab of his truck for my hand. What's wrong? I jerk my hand away from his. Don't. Don't what? He demands, his voice harsh. Don't touch me. He lets out a growl of frustration. The truck slams to a stop on the side of a dark road. I can feel his penetrating glare on me. Baby, look at me. No. Jesus, woman, why are you so stubborn? I give him a scathing glare. Fuck you. He gapes at me in shock. Did you just curse at me? His fingers run through his hair. You watch too much television. You say that word 1,000,000 times a day, I accuse. Why can't I say it? Because you're 16 goddamn years old. He's still trying to dad her.
Yeah, I'm yucked out by so many things. I'm yucked out by them trying to, play boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm yucked out that he's, trying to preserve that innocence. Or, preserve the childlike aspect.
Yeah, it's all bullshit. I don't believe anything that Atticus even thinks. Because it never feels honest. It feels like he's putting on a facade for himself so he doesn't feel bad. That's always how it comes across.
Okay.
I don't think it's intended to come across like that, but... So, they have sex in his truck before going into dinner with his mother. Eve meets Atticus's dad and immediately faints.
Okay.
And this is strange to everyone, but it's actually not. At this point, Atticus becomes very protective everyone accuses him of being a pedophile. This is all happening so fast. Atticus is about to have a guilt meltdown when his dad reveals he knows who Eve is.
Oh, my fight or flight is kicking.
Eve is the result of sibling incest. Those siblings, Atticus's uncle and aunt. It's a genuinely good twist, but it's so fucked up.
What?
Like, it's not good. It's a good twist as to you would never expect this.
No. Why would anyone? Why the incest?
Mhm.
Why is that a trope now?
I don't know. Like, even at the beginning of this book, Atticus is just like, I don't know what it is about these woods that just makes everyone want to fuck their family.
For real? And then, no. No. Like, why is it like, oh yeah, when people aren't in society, they just go fucking their family.
Yeah, like the fucking your family is somehow natural.
Right. That's like a default? No.
It's not.
Mm-mm.
It's super. There are actual studies that say humans evolved. Like, you know how when you're a teenager and you're like disgusted with your family about just everything?
Oh, absolutely.
And you like hate your parents and your siblings and stuff? Supposedly it's an evolutionary kick in to make you like move away from your family so that you don't hang around and have sex with one of them, because that would be biologically, it doesn't promote gene,
I get what you're saying.
Right, I need the word.
It wouldn't help your bloodline.
Yeah. It doesn't promote genetic variation.
Yes. Yeah.
Which helps a lot with species, but that's all aside from what's happening here.
It's to keep us from backyard breeding ourselves.
Yeah. Backyard breeding ourselves to death.
God.
So Atticus hears this. Oh, and by the way, Atticus's dad confirms that Eve is actually 19.
Oh, I bet his boner got real sad.
Yeah. Oh, after this, Atticus is like freaking the fuck out. For some reason, Atticus is more disgusted with the incest than the pedophilia.
Fuck him.
Yeah, he fucking sucks.
Wait, okay. Real quick. Are they in their home or a restaurant?
Right now, they're at Atticus's parents' house.
Okay, sorry.
So yeah, this isn't getting like aired out to the entire town immediately.
It's like, damn, that would be hilarious.
He deserves it. He deserves to be. Yeah. The story, I don't think, really understands how inbred Eve is, like how inbred it is to be a child of sibling incest, because historically, there's this really famous king of Spain, or prince of Spain, King Charles, or Charles II. I keep forgetting whether he's a prince or a king. I can't remember. But he was slightly less inbred than a child of incest would be. Like, they've got like a quotient for it to figure this stuff out.
Okay.
But he's slightly less inbred than a child of sibling incest would be. And he had like learning disabilities. He was more often than not psychotic. A lot of bodily issues.
Oh, absolutely.
Supposedly his testicles were like really shriveled up. And that's another thing that can happen a lot in incesty situations. A lot of times the children will just come out just plain infertile.
Right.
So I don't think this story understands the reality of incest. I think the story thinks that it's just taboo because people think it's gross.
Oh no, it's very harmful. Even in like, you look at monarchies who have tried to keep it all in the family, and they try to branch out a little, distant cousins.
Resulting in Prince Charles of Spain. Right.
And even then, at that point, it's
that was
still
like,
so severe.
Yeah. Like, it was like generations of like cousin marriages is what that was. And they get all Habsburgy.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Will is the name of his cop brother.
Okay.
Will stands up, not backing down from his brother. Fine, but I think it's high time you stop putting your dick in our cousin.
Oh.
That's what the chapter ends on, and I just think that's really funny. Like, it feels like even the characters in the story are rejecting a lot of the themes that are going on in the story.
Right. They're like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Atticus finding this out is like freaking the fuck out. He thinks this is so bad, so horrible. And he dumps Eve off at Reed's, and Reed like lives out in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you remember how it was like everyone was confused as to whether it was they were near a town or not.
Right.
But apparently he has to like drive hours and hours away to get to where Reed is. But he dumps her off outside of Reed's house and just drives away. And like Eve's in tears because she thinks this like she thinks it's fine because everyone she's ever had sex with has been her family, and still even now, like, I hate how gross this is. Like, this girl never had like a chance to have sex with anyone that wasn't related to her.
Right.
And that fucks me up.
Not only that, that just so clearly shows his intentions, because why the fuck would it matter if he's just trying to help this girl?
Mm-hmm.
Why would it matter? It doesn't.
Yeah.
You just don't want to fuck her now because you think she's yucky.
So he dumps her off, and he doesn't come back for like 2 months to even like see her or anything.
The audacity!
But he does stay drunk for 2 months until his dad gives him permission to fuck his cousin. Because he's like drinking himself to death drinking or whatever. And
Let him!
His dad's like, it's better to fuck your cousin than commit alcoholic suicide. And I'm like, I disagree.
Not only his cousin, but the dad's niece.
Super underage, yeah.
His underage niece. He's like, yes, I approve of my very adult son fucking my very underage niece.
Mm-hmm. Like, underage, like, I know she's 19, but she's not, I don't think she's mentally there, number one. And on top of that, she shouldn't be in a relationship with someone more than 2 times her age.
No.
So.
And in the real world, she would be placed into an adult foster care program.
You know who else will place children in adult foster care?
Who?
We're not affiliated, or ads.
That's how you get sued. 101.
Hello, Biblio freaks, geeks, and lovers. Bugs here. We wanted to let you know about our option to follow us on Patreon. We have a couple of tiers where you can listen to our bad book, bad movie review. We read a bad book and then we watch its bad movie counterpart. In the past, we've done Aragon, Shadow Builder by Bram Stoker, and we have a lot of different things in the future. Please let us know if you have any suggestions for future bad book, bad movie combos, and let's get back to the podcast.
So, we're back. Hopefully we can get done before we have to do another ad break, but
We'll see.
Upon being dropped off, Eve is immediately confronted by some homeless guy. And this is the person that threw a rock through their window to steal food.
A question.
Yeah.
So how far away from town did they live?
They lived like, I think it was like an hour away. So like definitely not in town.
So where's the homeless guy?
That I don't know.
Is he in town?
I don't know. Because like it seemed like he was like stalking around Atticus's house or cabin or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that just feels so out of pocket.
Mm-hmm. It super is. Like, it doesn't feel like it should be there, really.
There's so many other places that would seem more convenient.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to get stuck on that.
So the guy, like, hitched a ride in Atticus's trailer.
Okay.
So that, I guess, he could just follow them or get... I don't know what his plan was.
Okay.
So... he like as Atticus like drops her off, he bails out of the trailer.
Okay.
And as soon as Atticus is gone, he's just like, "I'm gonna rape you now," because he also doesn't have any teeth.
Oh
This woman cannot be presented with anything sexual without it being rape. It is
no!
impossible.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So he like chases her and like pursues her like into the night. Like she has to like cover some distance to get the fuck away from him, and continues evading him for 2 months.
What?
Mhm.
That makes no sense to me because
Mhm.
she should very easily be able to kill him in my head
Yep, you would think.
or trap him or
Mhm.
in something.
Well, the story is like really trying to have its cake and eat it too here, because what happens is this first 2 months she's running away from him, just trying to keep from getting killed by this guy. But then she comes into Reed's house. They're just like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And then she like takes off her coat and she's pregnant.
Why does that feel like a sitcom?
There are some bits that are like really comedic. I don't know if they're like, it's like on purpose or not, or this author is just kind of a buffoon that way.
Or it's just so like toned up that it's I don't know. Like the tone is not
Yeah, it's a fucked up tone.
okay.
She gets like a night of rest, and then she decides that she's going to pursue the man back now. Like 2 months pregnant, she steals Reed's gun, and now she's going to go after the her pursuer,
Okay.
which is kind of neat. I don't think she should be doing it while she's pregnant.
Probably not the best move.
Yep. But she leaves and starts pursuing the guy. Okay. Now that she's gone, and she's been gone for like a couple of days, this is when Atticus comes back to Reed's and talks to Reed. And Reed is like, he's like being, like, I don't know where the fuck this guy gets off telling Atticus that what he's doing is problematic.
Yeah.
Because the guy is.
Yeah.
The guy has been in a relationship with his underage daughter, which I guess now she's not underage, but and he has an issue with Reed, or yeah, Reed has an issue with Atticus now. I don't know where the fuck he gets off, but he's like super mad about it, and they do like some chest pushing, being dudes or whatever.
It's almost like virtue signaling.
Yeah, it kind of is. So he tells her that Eve ran off. There's a guy that is pursuing her. So Atticus starts pursuing both of them now.
Mm-hmm.
So this goes on. It like does a time skip of like 4 months instead of doing going over like any of the things that could have been possibly interesting, like any of the altercations between her and the guy. Or like any of the survivalist stuff that she could have done.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah, that would have been great. But no, we get a time skip to when she's about to get like 4 months of her becoming increasingly pregnant, pursuing a man to try to kill him. So she finds his camp, is about to kill him. He kind of gets the drop on her and like knocks her down, takes the gun, and he's about to rape her. Oh, no, he like knocks the gun away. And she's like trying to reach for her while he's trying to rape her. As this is happening, she's like trying to reach for the gun. The guy is trying to like pull her pants off. This is when Atticus shows up and sinks an axe into the back of the guy's head.
Glad the guy's dead, not clapping for Atticus.
Yeah, Atticus doesn't deserve any credit here.
No.
He's killing this rapist so that he can be the rapist.
Yes. No one rapes my victim.
Yep.
But me.
See, that seems like that's what it was in the last book too, with Reed and Devon. Like Eve's family raped Devon, and he was like, "No one can be her rapist but me," and he has to kill them.
And that's so weird. That's so weird that, like, Because how far are we into the book now?
This is like really close to the end.
So why introduce this whole like months-long plot and just skip? Like that could have been its own separate thing.
Yep.
It just seems so strange because there's no build-up. There's not really much investment into it. There's not much satisfaction, it seems.
I think the survivalist setting is just set dressing for people that might be interested in that kind of thing.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, it really is. It's just set dressing. It's just to paint Eve in a certain light so that she's like a more adult-seeming survivor character.
Yeah.
So I don't like that.
And Alaska's fucking cool.
Yeah. And you have to ruin it with all these people fucking...
Okay.
All right. Atticus saves her. They do some camping sex. He's like super worried that her baby is going to come out all deformed and shit, which by all rights...
Oh, now it's super inbred.
Yeah, it should. Like, she's already a sibling incest child. The only genetic diversity coming in is from Atticus's mom, and that's very far removed from this child at this point.
Right.
They start leaving. They travel for like a month or two, I think, until they come across Eve's family cabin. And this is when we find out that Eve has had 4 miscarriages in the past from her family. Yeah, and she's very sad about it.
Yeah.
So this has been plaguing her mind too. Like, she doesn't think that she can have a child that doesn't come out dead.
You can probably, maybe just not from
Yeah, if you'd stop fucking your cousin.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she doesn't know that because
Right.
she hasn't taught any of these things. She hasn't given the chance to know these things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'm sure that he hasn't enlightened her on the consequences.
no, no one ever explained. Like, everyone talks about incest around her, but no one explains. So, of course, that's when she goes into labor.
Oh, God.
She safely delivers the baby, and it's healthy despite genetic statistics.
There's just no way. There's just no way.
At the very least, it should the baby should have like a deformity or like a learning disability or something.
Genetic defect. I mean.
And this is happily ever after.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
That's it.
That's How did you feel?
Relieved that it was over, mostly.
That's fair.
Yeah. But also, as far as like judging it as a story, yeah, it disappointed me in a similar way to the way it had disappointed me for the entirety of the book.
Yeah. It's like the whole, you keep feeling like this girl's gonna be saved. Like somebody's gonna step in.
Well, the book doesn't see Atticus being a child predator or a family predator as a problem, is the thing. I see it as a problem. So me presenting it that way,
I feel like
comes out, but
call me crazy. I would hope most people reading that would be like, oh, but no, that's not the point of the book.
Some people, like, especially children, like if a child, like, I know it's not intended for children, but also the author contrives to not put proper trigger warnings in her book either.
Ew.
Yeah, like a parent wouldn't be, like, any parent with decent amount of sense would not let their child read most romances anyway.
Right.
But if this book was ever printed or anything, like me as a child, I picked up a lot of really inappropriate romances because I went to Goodwill and would pick up all these dead old ladies' smut books. And of course, the person working at Goodwill isn't going to go through and see what's age appropriate and what isn't. She's not going to ask how old the kid is before he picks up like this awful, filthy book. So I hope to God this was never printed. And I hope this can never get into the hands of a child because they don't have the proper critique skills to understand a lot of these themes.
I would say a lot of the nuance, I mean, your regular person who hasn't experienced or, done research into that stuff would have a hard time fully articulating, like, what's wrong with it, maybe up until...
Yeah, because if you're not used to talking about this kind of thing, a lot of this stuff can just kind of slip by and you can just start thinking like, I guess there's a circumstance that this is okay.
Because that's what it wants you to do,
Yeah.
right?
It wants to blur the line and try to introduce it as nuance instead of being fucking sick. So I've got one last digression, and then hopefully I will not need to use my soapbox for a while now. I want to talk about the previous book and the free in conjunction with each other, because doing something once is an isolated thing, but doing this kind of thing twice begins establishing a pattern. In both stories, it's established that a certain amount of abuse is acceptable. Reed is sexualizing his daughter. Atticus is using a mentally unwell person. These things are deemed okay by the stories because of the potential for worse things to happen. The wild is a bad place that you have to survive, so the compromise of a little bit of abuse is to save yourself a lot of abuse. And in the context of the story, it can seem acceptable. Like the moment Reed steps out, Devin gets raped to the point that she miscarries. Or when Atticus leaves Eve in the wilderness and she's being chased by a rapist for months. So this world sets up an awful life choice: get abused repeatedly by someone you want, or the rapist will get you. When a man goes out for revenge in these stories, he can single-handedly wipe out an entire family of rapists. But if you're a woman, it doesn't matter how long you pursue your quarry if you're trying to kill someone. In the end, you still need a man to save you from getting raped.
Oh, that is such a good point. I'm really glad that you said that.
I don't want to kink shame, but this apparent misogyny I find deeply gross. Not to mention how the writer creates men whose inner thoughts are uncontrollably sexual and violent, as well as emotionally inept. I feel like that's one thing me as a guy can say about this situation. I don't like how these men are hypersexualized to the point that they are fucking predators. And
because that's not normal.
Yeah,
and
it's
not
not
fair to portray that men... that's a natural, consequence of the situation or the circumstances. Good people do not follow that path.
Right. And I don't think a lot of all the reviewers and stuff that I could find for these books, none of them were men. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the women should have more of a say in this situation because the victim in this book is a woman. But my perspective as a man can also be valuable because of how men are presented in this book. And that's pretty much all I got.
No, I completely agree. I don't want to piggyback off, and I know we're coming to the end. I think you brought up a lot of very valid points. And the story doesn't serve the female character at any point. It isn't about her getting help or, going through this trauma, getting what she needs, the abuse stopping. It's all about him controlling her.
And getting his fuck on.
Yeah. Every person at every single turn failed her throughout the entire story.
And the best she could possibly hope for is to fuck her cousin.
Yeah.
That was the best she could hope for in this situation. This is her fucking happy ending.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Well.
I'm glad to have this done.
I commend you because that is a huge mental labor.
Yeah,
I could tell this wore on you really hard.
I had to get this out. So what did you think? What are your overall thoughts on this series?
I think that there were so many ways where there were ways where this could have been done, where it could be helpful. and it was all terrible. It was all bad. I think that I don't understand what the intent of the author was at all, in any way, shape, or form. The whole theme, the story, everything about it made me feel yucky. I would not want people to know I wrote this.
You never know. Kay Webster could be a pseudonym, but who knows?
Who knows?
I feel bad now for talking about a male perspective, because now I feel like, well, no men were talking about this.
No, but
no one wants a man's perspective.
No, but definitely appreciate the thought there. But I don't think at any point it's, as a guy, but I think it's very important to hear I'm not in this at all.
Yeah.
This is not how good people think. This is not, there's no apologetics. Nothing you can say will make me feel like this was fine.
And that's what I really hate about the story, is because it borders on apologetics so much. And I don't think there's any need to try to argue for this stuff.
No, I agree. Yeah, my main takeaway from this is the whole time I just wanted to reach into the story and hug her.
Yeah, my protective instinct was just like, I wish I could stop this for her.
Right, and I don't think that was the intent.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, absolutely not. This story is trying to present her as the more aggressive person in the relationship.
Well, she wants it.
Yeah, because I feel like all Kay Webster did is turn the dial down on the male role in the story and turn the dial up on the female in this, as far as being sexually aggressive.
Right. And as we've established, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. A normal person would find the right resources, call CPS, even if,
Yeah, be responsible enough to take it out of your hands.
Right.
And let someone who it is appropriate to take care of this, take care of this.
Exactly.
Yep.
Donate to your local shelters.
Yeah.
Help people when they need help.
Yeah, this has been my bit for speaking out against this kind of media that I despise.
And it's crazy because people like this.
Yeah. People on the internet probably mostly hate that. I hate the internet.
A lot of things. Okay.
Yep. I think that'll do it. We're covered up on this. All right. Well, we're going to go now. Bye, everyone. I love some of you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on and ruining a good chunk of your Sunday for this.
Oh, yeah. But it was great. It was great.
It was fine. It was fun. Bye, y'all.